The story opens on a remote, barren Deathworld known as Kael'thar, a planet infamous for its hostile environment. Violent storms, poisonous flora, and predatory beasts that have adapted to its toxic atmosphere. On one of its few habitable outposts, an isolated scientific and mining station named Aegis 7, a desperate emergency signal is being sent out into the void. Commander Varek Solis, the outpost's leader, monitors the deteriorating situation with grim determination. The station's resources are nearly depleted, communications are erratic, and an unidentified hostile force has launched a sudden and overwhelming attack. His crew is battered, supplies are running out, and the alien menace is unlike anything they've seen before. Engineered beasts with razor-sharp claws and acid-spitting weapons ravaging the station's defenses. Varek initiates the SOS transmission. Unlike standard distress calls, this one is encoded with a specific call sign known only to the scattered Deathworlder clans, warriors and survivors genetically and culturally adapted to planets like Kael'thar. The message is brief, but loaded with meaning. Charn strike imminent, request immediate fleet assistance, priority alpha. It's a direct plea not to the Galactic Council but to the Deathworlders themselves, those fierce clans who prize survival in the universe's harshest environments. Meanwhile, in the Galactic Council chambers orbiting a nearby star system, high-ranking officials debate the distress signal's validity and significance. Many regard the Deathworlders with suspicion or disdain, seen as dangerous, unpredictable outlaws rather than allies. Council members argue about whether to ignore the call, suspecting it might be a trap or a ploy by rogue factions seeking to provoke wider conflict. The prevailing attitude is cautious detachment. The Deathworlders are on their own. Unbeknownst to the Council, Captain Elisara Thorn, commander of the Deathworlder fleet, intercepts the encoded SOS. Elisara is a hardened veteran who has earned the loyalty of multiple Deathworld clans through years of uniting disparate groups against common threats. She understands the gravity of the message immediately. The call for aid is a rare and urgent one, only sent in the most dire circumstances. Without waiting for Council approval, Elisara mobilizes her flagship, the Iron Fang, and begins contacting other Deathworlder warlords. Each clan inhabits a different brutal environment: acidic swamps, frozen wastelands, volcanic hellscapes, and each has their own customs, weapons, and grudges. The clans are fiercely independent, their alliance is tenuous at best. Yet the threat to Kael'thar is serious enough to force them to consider unity. Back on Kael'thar, the outpost sensors pick up the approach of enemy forces, bioengineered monstrosities designed to crush any resistance. The crew scrambles to reinforce defenses, but their fate hangs by a thread. Varek's hope lies in the distant promise of the fleet's arrival, a slim but vital chance for survival. The tension is palpable as the narrative cuts between the desperation on Kael'thar, the political infighting in the Council, and the stirring rallying of the Deathworlder clans. This opening act sets the stage for a galactic showdown where survival depends on fierce loyalty, ancient grudges set aside, and the arrival of a legendary fleet forged in the universe's deadliest crucibles. As Captain Elisara Thorn receives the encoded SOS from Kael'thar's doomed outpost, she knows the stakes are monumental. The survival of Deathworlder clans and possibly entire planets is on the line. But rallying the clans is no easy task. Each group is fiercely independent, hardened by generations of brutal survival on some of the galaxy's most hostile planets, and bound by old rivalries and grudges. Elisara's first move is to activate the ancient Deathworlder network, a shadowy communication web used by clans for discreet contact over light years. Through this network, she sends a rallying message, a call to arms framed as a sacred duty to protect their kin and ancestral lands from an unprecedented threat. The response is mixed. Some clans immediately pledge support, recognizing the gravity of the SOS. Others remain suspicious, viewing the call as a possible trap or a political gambit by rival factions. The story follows Elisara as she journeys from system to system, gathering envoys and emissaries from the most formidable clans. On the acidic swamps of Zelnora, she meets the Carrick clan, amphibious warriors whose bioarmor and toxin weaponry make them deadly foes. Their chieftain is skeptical but impressed by Elisara's reputation and the urgency of the message. On the frozen world of Draxon, the heavily armored Frostborn clan, known for their relentless endurance and ice-carved battle mechs, is roused by tales of the bio-monster invasion threatening Kael'thar. Each clan brings a unique culture, fighting, style and arsenal to the table, reflecting their harsh environments. The volcanic Marnak clan specializes in heat-resistant armor and plasma weaponry forged in lava pits. The nomadic Skyborn riders dominate in swift aerial assaults, using winged mech suits. This diversity is a strength, but also a source of friction. Long-standing disputes and blood feuds bubble beneath the surface, threatening to fracture the fragile alliance before it even begins. Elisara must use all her leadership skills to unite these disparate forces. She calls a clandestine summit on a neutral barren moon, void of resources but rich in symbolism. The summit is tense. Old rivalries flare, and debates about command structure erupt. Some clans demand autonomy in their forces, while others push for a unified chain of command. Elisara brokers compromises, emphasizing the shared threat and the necessity of solidarity. Meanwhile, rumors of the Deathworlders' mobilization reach the Galactic Council. The Council, still wary and divided, sends a reconnaissance fleet to monitor the movements, fearing that the Deathworlders' actions might spark an interstellar war or destabilize fragile peace treaties. The Deathworlder fleet's sudden assembly raises alarms, and political intrigue intensifies as various factions within the Council push to either contain or exploit the situation. As the fleet's warships are refitted with specialized weapons, stealth tech and survival gear tailored for Deathworld combat, we see personal stories of warriors preparing for battle. Some are hardened veterans who have seen countless wars. Others are young recruits eager to prove themselves. Bonds form and break. Secrets are shared in whispered conversations. The weight of impending conflict presses down on all. Back on Kael'thar, Commander Varric Solis and the outpost survivors cling to hope, watching sensor readings for signs of the fleet's approach. The alien invaders continue their relentless assault, pushing deeper into Deathworld territory. Every second counts. By the end of Part 2, the Deathworlder fleet is a living, breathing force, assembled from the galaxy's deadliest clans, united, in purpose but still wrestling with internal divisions. Their journey to Kael'thar, and to a confrontation that will test their survival and honor, is about to begin. As the Deathworlder clans finish their uneasy alliance and prepare to launch their fleet, new intelligence begins to surface about the nature of the enemy threatening Kael'thar and the surrounding territories. The urgency of their mission intensifies, as the true scope of the danger becomes clear. They are not facing a mere raiding party or typical hostile species. They are up against an alien warlord with bio-engineered monstrosities, bent on conquering and annihilating Deathworld habitats. Back at the remote outpost of Aegis 7 on Kael'thar, Commander Varric Solis and his remaining crew are fighting a losing battle. The invaders are terrifying creations, sleek, aggressive beasts fused with alien technology, capable of adapting rapidly to defensive tactics. These biomonsters tear through barricades, hunt survivors with uncanny precision, and spread a virulent, biological contagion that weakens even the hardiest of Deathworlders. The outpost sensors pick up disturbing signs. The warlord's forces are systematically targeting settlements across the planet, laying siege to mining colonies, scientific stations, and tribal enclaves alike. Their goal is clear: total domination. Meanwhile, deep within the Deathworlder fleet's command ship Ironfang, cryptographers and intelligence officers analyze intercepted transmissions and recovered data from escape pods. They managed to piece together the identity of the aggressor, a ruthless alien warlord named Sharnthal, known in certain shadow circles as the Beastmaster. Sharnthal is infamous for his twisted experiments that blend living organisms with weaponized technology, creating monstrous soldiers engineered for terror and destruction. His forces are not just mercenaries. They are bioengineered horrors bred for a single purpose: wiping out the Deathworlder clans and conquering their territories to expand his personal empire. This revelation sends shockwaves through the fleet's leadership. The Deathworlders know of many enemies, but Charnthal's cruelty and cunning mark him as a uniquely deadly foe. His invasion is unlike anything they have faced. A war waged with terror tactics and biologically enhanced forces that threaten not only their lands, but their very survival. Within the Galactic Council, the news of Charnthal's invasion and the Deathworlder fleet's mobilization causes heated debate. Some factions push for intervention, recognizing the threat could destabilize entire regions if left unchecked. Others fear supporting the Deathworlders would upset political balance or lead to a costly war. The Council's hesitation contrasts sharply with the urgent reality unfolding in the war zones. Back on Kael'thar, Commander Varric manages to evacuate a small group of survivors using an old, heavily armored shuttle. Among the evacuees is a scientist who has crucial data on the biology and weaknesses of Charnthal's creatures. This information becomes a beacon of hope, something that could turn the tide if it reaches the fleet in time. Captain Elisara Thorn faces the monumental challenge of uniting the clans to not only fight a conventional war, but to prepare for an enemy that warps biology itself. She orders the fleet to develop countermeasures, combining their knowledge of harsh environments and guerrilla warfare with the scientists' data. Weapons and defenses are modified to exploit vulnerabilities in the biomonsters, such as disrupting their neural links or targeting their regenerative systems. As the Deathworlder fleet speeds toward Kael'thar, the narrative tension escalates. The combined clans wrestle with internal fears and external threats. Old grudges simmer, but the necessity of survival forces unity. The fleet's preparations reflect a grim understanding. Failure means not just defeat but extinction. Part 3 ends on a tense note. Charnthal's forces are spreading like a plague. The outpost's survivors cling to hope, and the Deathworlder fleet prepares for a battle unlike any they have fought before. The stage is set for a brutal confrontation where ingenuity, resilience, and unity will determine who survives. With the grim realities of the threat laid bare, Captain Elisara Thorn steels herself to lead the Deathworlder fleet into one of the most dangerous missions in their history. The clans, diverse in culture, combat style, and history, have set aside old grudges and grudgingly accepted a fragile alliance. Now it's time to move from preparation to action. The Iron Fang's battle bridge buzzes with activity as engineers and tacticians finalize ship modifications. Deathworlder warships built for survival in hostile environments are refitted with advanced weaponry designed to exploit the biomonster's weaknesses identified in earlier intelligence. Plasma disruptors tuned to disrupt the neural networks of the enemy creatures, corrosive chemical sprays to break down their armored hides, and reinforced hulls ready to withstand brutal assaults are all installed. Smaller scout ships are equipped with stealth technology, vital for reconnaissance in enemy territory. Elisara issues a rallying call across the fleet's channels, reminding the warriors of their shared heritage, survivors of planets that break the weak and forge the strong. Her words emphasize honor, survival, and the necessity of protecting their people. Though the clans remain wary of each other, a spark of unified purpose kindles in their ranks. As the fleet embarks, it moves in a carefully coordinated formation through hyperspace, cutting a path toward Kael'thar. The journey is tense. Every system they pass could harbor enemy spies or lurking dangers. Scouts run advanced sensor sweeps ahead, probing for traps or ambushes. The fleet's leadership remains vigilant against any internal sabotage. Old rivalries could easily flare under stress. Space battles erupt sporadically as enemy scout vessels and small raiding parties attempt to delay the fleet's advance. These engagements test the fleet's coordination and tactics. The Deathworlders rely on guerrilla-style hit-and-run attacks, using speed and terrain to their advantage even in the void of space. Fast, heavily armed interceptors dart in and out, striking enemy ships before vanishing into asteroid belts or nebula clouds. Larger vessels provide cover fire, while specialized boarding teams prepare to seize enemy craft if the opportunity arises. On board the Iron Fang, Elisara works closely with her tactical officers to adapt their battle plans based on real-time intelligence. She pushes for flexibility, knowing that rigid formations could be shattered by the alien warlords' unpredictable bio-creatures. The fleet's unity is tested in these moments, with younger warriors proving their mettle and veterans passing down invaluable battle wisdom. Back on Kael'thar, Commander Varric Solis and the survivors brace for the fleet's arrival. Though they are battered and running low on hope, every sensor ping from incoming ships ignites a flicker of renewed courage. The planet itself seems to hold its breath. Amid the fleet's advance, tensions flare within the clans. Some leaders challenge Elisara's command, demanding autonomy or questioning her decisions. In response, Elisara convenes an emergency council meeting mid-jump, where she confronts dissenters openly. She reminds them that survival depends on discipline and trust, and she appeals to their shared bloodlines and histories. The council grudgingly backs her leadership, though the cracks remain. The alien warlords' forces respond in kind. Their biomonsters evolve rapidly, developing countermeasures to the fleet's weapons and tactics. The enemy's adaptability raises the stakes, forcing the fleet to innovate on the fly. New weapons and tactics are devised as they near the war zone. As the fleet exits hyperspace near Kael'thar, a massive skirmish breaks out at the edge of the system. The Deathworlder fleet fights with ferocity born of desperation and honor. The clash is brutal, with ships taking heavy damage but pushing through to establish orbit. Elisara leads a daring strike team to disable enemy reinforcements attempting to land. Part 4 ends with the fleet securing a foothold in Kael'thar's orbit. The battle on the ground is about to intensify, and the Deathworlders steel themselves for the brutal conflict ahead. Their unity has been tested, their tactics sharpened, but the true trial is just beginning. The Deathworlder fleet, having established orbit around the scarred planet Kael'thar, prepares to launch the most critical phase of their mission, the ground assault to reclaim the outpost and halt the alien biomonster invasion. After months of desperate survival and planning, the moment to strike back has finally arrived. Commander Varric Solis, entrenched in the ruins of the Aegis 7 outpost, coordinates with Captain Elisara Thorn through a secure comlink. His knowledge of the terrain, combined with the fleet's firepower and reinforcements, offers a strategic advantage. Despite dwindling resources and morale, Varric's leadership inspires his surviving crew and local tribesmen who have taken refuge nearby. Their intimate understanding of Kael'thar's treacherous environment becomes invaluable in guerrilla warfare against the invading forces. The fleet's assault begins with orbital bombardments targeting enemy biomonster breeding grounds and supply lines, carefully calibrated to minimize damage to the fragile local ecosystem and human survivors. Using plasma disruptors and corrosive chemical sprays tailored to the creature's vulnerabilities, the fleet gradually weakens the enemy's reinforcements. Yet, despite these efforts, the enemy adapts quickly, deploying new bioengineered monstrosities designed to counter the Deathworlders' weaponry. Elisara leads the deployment of ground forces composed of the diverse Deathworlder clans, each specializing in combat adapted to their homeworld's environment. The Frostborn warriors, with their ice-resistant armor and heavy mech suits, spearhead frontal assaults against heavily fortified enemy nests, breaking through biotech barriers with brute force. Meanwhile, the agile Skyborn riders conduct aerial raids, using their winged mech suits to flank enemy positions and disrupt supply chains. The Karak clan, experts in toxins and ambush tactics from their acidic swamps, conduct stealth operations, poisoning enemy bio-creatures and sabotaging their breeding facilities. The Marnak clan's plasma specialists use volcanic-forged weaponry to unleash devastating firepower in close combat, purging enemy lairs in the planet's molten caverns. Amid the chaos, the Deathworlder clans must overcome their internal rivalries and learn to operate as a cohesive unit. The harsh battlefield environment, filled with poisonous gases, unstable terrain, and hostile wildlife, tests their endurance and adaptability. Elisara's command style, firm but inclusive, helps forge a fragile trust as warriors from disparate clans witness each other's bravery and sacrifices firsthand. The alien warlord Jarnthal emerges as a shadowy figure on the battlefield, coordinating his monstrous legions through advanced bioneural links. His presence is felt in the terrifying efficiency of the enemy's attacks and the eerie synchronization of their movements. Reports from frontline scouts indicate the warlord's monstrous personal guard nightmarish hybrid beasts engineered for combat superiority, patrolling key areas, posing a deadly challenge to any who dare approach. During the battle, a pivotal moment arrives when Commander Varric's team discovers a hidden enemy breeding pit, a massive biofactory churning out new generations of biomonsters. Coordinating with Elisara, they launch a daring assault to destroy the facility, knowing that its destruction could cripple the enemy's offensive capabilities. The battle is brutal and costly. Many warriors fall, and both sides suffer heavy casualties. But the Deathworlders' resilience and tactical ingenuity slowly turn the tide. The combined clans, fighting as one, push the alien forces back from strategic positions, reclaiming territory and restoring hope to the embattled planet. As the dust settles on Part 5, the Deathworlder fleet prepares for the final showdown. They have achieved a hard-fought foothold on Caelthar, but the Warlord's forces are far from defeated. The fate of the planet, and possibly the survival of Deathworlder civilization itself, hangs in the balance. The coming battle will demand every ounce of courage, skill, and unity the clans can muster. The climactic final battle for Caelthar begins under a blood-red sky, the planet's battered surface scarred by months of relentless conflict. The Deathworlder clans, now fully unified and battle-hardened, prepare for a decisive confrontation with Harnthal's bioengineered legions. This is not just a fight for territory. It is a battle for survival, honor, and the future of all Deathworlder species. Captain Elisara Thorn coordinates closely with Commander Varric Solis, synchronizing orbital bombardments, ground assaults, and tactical maneuvers with precision. The fleet's reinforcements bolster the defenders, delivering fresh troops, heavy artillery, and critical supplies to the front lines. The scars of earlier skirmishes are evident, but the Deathworlders' resolve is unbroken. Charnthal, the ruthless alien warlord, reveals himself on the battlefield, a towering figure encased in living armor, commanding his monstrous horde through a terrifying bioneural interface. His forces have evolved further, exhibiting enhanced coordination and devastating new biological weapons. Despite this, the Deathworlders' combined experience and adaptability allow them to anticipate and counter many of his tactics. The battle unfolds with brutal intensity. Frostborn mech suits clash with massive biotitans, plasma blasts, and corrosive sprays exchange in deadly volleys, while skyborne riders execute daring aerial strikes on enemy command nodes. The Karak stealth squads infiltrate enemy lines, sabotaging vital breeding centers, and the Marnak unleash infernos that burn through biofactories and enemy encampments. In the midst of the chaos, Elisara leads an elite strike team tasked with penetrating the heart of the enemy's command center, a colossal bioconstruct pulsating with alien energy. Their mission is to sever Charnthal's neural link to his monstrous forces, a critical blow that could turn the tide of battle. The strike team faces harrowing obstacles: genetically enhanced guards, biomechanical traps, and rapidly mutating creatures designed to adapt to every attack. Yet driven by desperation and fierce loyalty, they press forward. After a fierce and costly fight, they succeed in disabling the bioneural core, fracturing the cohesion of the alien army. With their forces thrown into disarray, Charnthal orders a desperate final assault. The Deathworlders brace for the enemy's last stand, a massive wave of biomonsters surging toward their lines. In a monumental clash of strength and will, every warrior fights with unmatched ferocity. The clan's unity, forged in blood and hardship, becomes their greatest weapon. Ultimately, Charnthal is confronted in single combat by Captain Elisara. Their duel is brutal and symbolic, steel and plasma against bioengineered might. Elisara's skill, tactical insight, and unyielding spirit allow her to outmaneuver and defeat the warlord, shattering his control over the invading hordes. With Charnthal's fall, the alien forces collapse. The remaining biomonsters, deprived of their master's guidance, become vulnerable to coordinated Deathworlder strikes. The battle concludes with the clans victorious, but at great cost. In the aftermath, Caelthar begins a slow and arduous process of recovery. The survivors mourn the fallen but also celebrate their hard-won freedom. The clans, once fractured and suspicious, now recognize the strength of their unity. Captain Elisara's leadership is hailed as pivotal, earning her respect across all clans. The Galactic Council, witnessing the Deathworlders' resilience and strategic victory, reevaluates its stance. Political barriers begin to crumble as new alliances form, acknowledging the Deathworlders as a formidable force in galactic affairs. Part 6 closes with a hopeful yet cautious note. Though Kael'thar is saved, the galaxy remains a dangerous place. The Deathworlders vow to remain vigilant, ready to respond whenever their worlds face threats. Their fleet, once a reluctant coalition, has transformed into a symbol of survival, honor, and unbreakable resolve.